starts before the learning institutions, before our children get to those learning institutions we call schools. And that's why we have to, when it comes to public education, we have to make sure that the public is educated. We have to use all of our community-based organizations, our churches, our schools, our synagogues, all of our community-based organizations. We have to use those institutions to educate people, to inform people, to energize and mobilize people. When it comes to crime, when we talk about crime, how do we talk about crime? One, we know that crime has been racialized in America. We know that crime has a race because we only talk about certain kinds of crimes. We talk about what is called Part 1 index crimes. Robbery, murder, etc. Those are the kind of crimes that we talk about. We don't talk about white-collar crimes. And these are the crimes that give rise to the kind of conditions in our inner cities that have the certain kinds of societal outcomes. You know, people who are petty pushers, making peanuts and pebbles on street corners, don't own yachts and ships to bring all these shipments into our inner city streets. But this is how we talk about crime. So we are actually engaging in an irresponsible conversation about crime, about poverty, about education, about public safety, increase the number of police officers on the streets, and that's how you make our city streets safer. Bull crap. You don't replace our streets with one kind of criminal and put another kind of criminal in its place. You don't take one pistol off the street and load another pistol up and say, go get them. We know that people are being misused and mistreated and abused by our women and men in uniform. It's not all of them, but all it takes is a couple of them to blemish their reputation. So when we talk about crime, we also have to indict those who are actually engaged in criminal activities of all sorts. Not just our vulnerable people who are out there lost days and confused, and who don't have access to the justice system the way other folk do. So when we talk about these issues, we have to speak candidly, openly, honestly, and truthfully about the actual situation or the matter of concern. If we keep talking about it using this washed up language that we've been using for decades and even centuries, we're going to continue to, as I explained earlier to my brothers and sisters, it's like the route that you chose to come here today. You didn't design those roadways that brought you here to this place today. Somebody else designed them for you. We have to be the engineers that go out there and actually construct new highways, new roadways, new pathways. Because these kids right here, our young folk right here, they're depending on us to be the engineers, to be the construction crew, to be on the planning and development team. We take the back seat, and this is what we do. We go home, we talk about a desperate housewife. We go home, we talk about who wants to be somebody else's millionaire. We talk about how many stars are dancing. But we're not talking about issues that that we face, that impact us daily, indirectly or directly. We're not talking about these things. What is it going to take for us to talk about it? My brother was shot and killed. And I hate talking about it. Because he is not the victim of a homicide. I am the victim of that homicide. Because he's now gone. We're free now. Death is a natural part of life. My brother is gone now. He ain't worried about us. He ain't worried about this stuff that goes on here. But now I am the victim of that homicide. Because I have to take on I'm the victim of that homicide. So we have to take a more active role, a more leadership. We have to assume these leadership positions. Politics is not going to get us where we need to be. Voting didn't get us the right to vote. You know? So we didn't use that voting apparatus, political apparatus, to get the right to vote. So we know that a politician is not going to get us to the place that we need to be, that we deserve to be. We know that we are the ones that make it happen. We are the ones that make it happen. All the crew members on the Titanic didn't make that ship sink. That captain that was steering that ship, who didn't listen to the instructions of those who knew what was going on, caused it to hit that iceberg. And now all we can do is play our little violin while the ship sinks. I'm sorry. There's no lifeboat. There's no life jacket. We have to take that captain and remove that little fella. Because he's lost. He don't know what's going on. And bless his little heart. But we're gonna have a little safe place for him. We need to take over this ship. Turn it in a different direction so that we don't hit this iceberg. Because we know what's going to happen. We know what's going to happen. And then we're going to just play our little violins while we sing. We have to step up. We have to step out. And we have to stand on principles. Otherwise, we're going to sink. Who knows it, right? If you don't stand for something,
You'll fall for anything.
let's not fall.
Amen.
Amen.